Welcome to True Health Tuesday, and the truth will set you free. Coronavirus. Okay, we're going to go over the facts. Now, we can go into all sorts of cool conspiracies. You know, this scientist smuggled it out of Canada, and then the other scientist was killed, and then this one here. Okay, let's just look at what the facts are and what the future is going to be. We can really see what the future is, not with some giant crystal ball, just with common sense. Number one thing, you realize what this picture is up there? That's advanced technology. 1300s, by God, because they knew without a doubt that illness came from evil spirits and sin and bad humor. So they developed this giant nose where they could fill it with scented herbs, and everybody knows spirits can't pass through red lenses. So you have these red lenses, and then you have this smock covered, okay, with something that you can, you know, if you bleed on or sputum, you can get rid of it and wash it off. So that's the technology. Now, the doctors in Europe, with their fancy technology, yeah, you could turn that up, that'd be fine. It's pretty. Okay, the doctors with this fancy technology, they would do a bleeding, which was popular for around 5,000 years, and then they would do quicksilver or mercury, okay? Using that fancy medical technology and everything, it killed about a third of the people in Europe. Typically, the wealthy died at a greater rate. So we can look at the ignorance of a past epidemic and the ignorance of the therapies or interventions. So let's look at the current one. First, Corona, the new COVID-19 will spread around the world. It will spread around the world. This will be a pandemic, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Okay, there's nothing to do to stop it. We don't want to stop it. It is a virus. Now, this is a pandemic. Some people will die. The ones that are dying are mainly immune system compromised. They're going to have physical, chemical, emotional stress. And we're going to cover the interventions that are being done to these people are borderline criminal. Most everyone that catches the virus will live. Governments will use this virus to control the population, guaranteed. They are already doing it, and it will be to the extreme. People will willingly give up their freedoms for security. This is its common problem, reaction, solution. Common. So the virus, okay, was either lab created. Okay, there's a Section 4 lab or you know, high-level lab in Wuhan, or it was wild. So no more comments like, hey, we got this. Okay, it was wild or lab created. It doesn't matter where it was created. It doesn't matter if it's designed to wipe out half of the world's population. It doesn't. These are all speculations. But right now we know two choices, okay? It's lab created or it's wild. Quarantine of 6 people in large groups is stupid. Okay, so what they're doing is checking the temperature. You got a fever, great. We're going to shove you in this giant gym where the sick people are. Okay, a lot of different things will have a similar presentation. It's not just one virus that's going to cause this. This is winter time in the northern hemisphere, winter time in China. A number of different things can cause that. But if you have a bunch of stressed out people in an environment locked away and one person is sick, that's a great way to spread the disease. So the management of that is psychotic. Quarantining someone inside of their own apartment makes sense, but not in big things. Panic literally weakens the immune system response. Now, you're looking at, these are not dead bodies. Okay, those are healthcare workers that are exhausted. And we saw this with the Ebola. They're exhausted. But think of this, the medical interventions that they're going to do. And then again, that's people waiting in line. When you have a cold and you go to the hospital, what are they going to do? Drugs or drugs? Possibly oxygen if your lungs are filling up, and that would be great. There happens to be an oxygen shortage at most of the hospitals, but oxygen would be a good palliative care that would actually help. Okay, but they're not going to do natural antivirals like garlic or anything like that. They're going to give an antipyretic, which is going to reduce the fever. Of course, that is the immune system primary response. They're going to give steroids, which decrease the swelling of the bronchus, which further weakens your immune system. And then they're going to give some antibiotics, which won't work against a virus, but it may help sometimes present a secondary infection. But all of those three interventions weaken the immune system. And then we crowd people into a stressed area. This is how. I mean, if you said, look, dude, I want to make a virus expand in a population. Great, let's do this. Okay. Now, Ebola, we know that healthcare workers, just like the ones in Wuhan, are passing out sick. I mean, some of them are even dying. So think of this. You're wearing a hazmat suit. You saw those people resting with their goggles, mask, hazmat suits. So there is no break here. Okay. A couple hour shifts in heat. Now, luckily, the people in Wuhan, it's winter time, so they can wear those suits and not sweat like crazy. But when you take it off and put it on, you douse yourself with disinfectants. Okay, now is that smart or not smart? Okay, we're going to go over that in just a little bit. So when we look at it, antibiotics weaken the immune system. We know that. It alters your immune system response, your gut flora, everything. But it's not just taking an antibiotic that's prophylactic. It's the spray on your skin. All of that stuff is not good. So it doesn't make sense. The intervention is foolish. Steroids are known to suppress the immune system. If you look at the British Medical Journal, a double-blind placebo-controlled trial to see if over-the-counter analgesics or antipyretic medications, it has an adverse effect on the immune system. So if you have a fever, you don't take a Tylenol to reduce it. The fever, for every 1 degree increase in temperature, the speed of the immune system doubles. This is brilliant. Now, this is craziness. You have fog everywhere. Okay, what are they spraying? Now looking at it, there's a couple of disinfectants. Do you think that disinfectants sprayed in the air, okay, will kill all the viruses? This is fear-based stupid. It's not based in science. This cannot work, and it does not work. If you take, let's say if we could make all of China, billion people, has disinfected, has an American hospital. Because why? America's clean. Okay? It's them other brown people that are dirty. Okay? This is psychotic. Okay? Because if you look at American hospitals in 2011, 75,000 people died of hospital-acquired infections because we couldn't keep the hospitals clean enough. Okay? In 2013, 99,000 people minimum are dying of infections walking in this hermetically sealed, clean hospital. Okay, you can't do it. Now, when they're spraying this, do you think that they're actually killing the virus, or are they killing susceptible viruses, funguses, and bacteria, and only the strong ones will live? But what does this do? Does this make the population feel comfortable? By God, the government is really, really helping out. Okay? If you look at this, at cancer groups, okay, if you have a cancer support group, people that typically go to cancer support groups tend to die earlier. Several studies on that. Why? Because when you get to a support group, what do you talk about? Dying? Cancer? You don't talk about, playing tennis or hiking no. So this is a constant reminder that there's some evil presence that you can't see that's out to get you. Okay, what does that do to the mindset? Well, we know, okay, for one, you can't disinfect American hospitals. How can you possibly disinfect a city? And then by disinfecting American hospitals, you cause more damage because we still have that screwed up idea that bacteria, viruses cause disease. Okay, when you have a huge flora on your skin, that has viruses, funguses, bacteria, everything that keep you alive. You've got an ecosystem in your gut. That is foolishness. So let's look at the Purell, the hand washing, the sanitizers. Okay, now it can cause hormone disorders, cancer, heart disease, infertility, and diabetes. I put this one up because when we do cruises, and we do about a cruise a year, okay, there's always these people with these Purell things, okay, and you're supposed to wipe your hands on your way into the restaurant. I tell people, look, man, just wash your hands with soap and water, and when you see them to squirt the Purell, go, nope, just wash them back off, dude. Okay, so and they say cool. But this, if you get one of the thermo receipts, the receipts, it has a completely toxic effect. But if you can't wash this stuff off your hands, so you're going to be eating it, and we're talking, it weakens the immune system. Plus, it doesn't work. Okay, when you look, well, the whole point of getting it is that you didn't wash your hands. Thank you very much. Yes, you can wash it off. Why would you? I know, I'm with you on that one. Okay, but this is the weird one. Okay, so we've got hand sanitizer. We're gonna use it. We're gonna check our hands for the virus. Okay, the CDC says you got to wipe for about 15 to 30 seconds. That doesn't work at all. Putting the hand sanitizer on after 2 minutes of rubbing. 2 minutes. I don't want to do this for 2 minutes. Okay, but 2 minutes of rubbing, bam, there's still virus. So it takes about 4 minutes of soaking your body in Purell, rubbing all over the place to fight the virus. So why is this unscientific panic occurring? Why are we making this Wuhan area? Why are we shutting down everything? Okay, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But when you start to look at the overall big picture, so you got to step back, because there's a reason that they're walling off Wuhan. Now we can say, it's an experiment for 5G. I mean, there's a lot of conspiracy theories. But what's the overall? Right now, we have an economic crisis in the world. Anybody? Well, it's hard to understand that in America because we can go to the store, we can buy food. The little paper things that we call money still have some kind of value that we could trade them for goods like food, gasoline, and things like that. But I'm talking the rest of the world. Greece is going to default. Deutsche Bank should go bankrupt in the next couple of years. We're looking at a massive economic upheaval. Forget all of South America. I mean, this is a big deal because they're finding out currencies are no longer worth anything. Okay, and they've been overvalued. And what's worse yet, we're seeing that instead of using a currency to trade for goods, now we're trading currency for currency. This is where the stock market comes in, the gambling. Okay, world governments have to control the populations for the worldwide depression. Of course they do. When the depression hits, okay, because, America can't keep exporting its debt. Okay, we're going to eventually have to, say, hey, look, you're right. The greenback ain't worth anything. Because it was backed in gold. Nixon got off of that. Then it was backed in petroleum. And then that didn't work out well because some of the countries like Libya decided to trade in their own currency. So now the U.S. government currency isn't backed by anything. So when people start to realize that, they're going to be a bit of concerned. But knowing that the government has screwed up the finances, okay, and this is not our government, it's the world government, okay, because you're looking at the World Bank going into other countries, giving loans that they can't repay, putting them in debt. Okay, and you're looking at the debt of every child. What is it? 4,000 how much per person? I think it's like either $4,000 or $40,000 per person that you're born with that you'll never pay off. So now they need to use a scapegoat, because if they come up and say, look, man, we screwed up on healthcare. Most of the population is sick. 60% of the adults have a chronic illness or a disease. 70% of the kids 17 to 24 can't even join the military because they're so mentally screwed up. Okay, so we don't have a workforce. Our economy is in trash. And who are we going to go? We're going to blame the government. Okay, so we got to fire everybody. This way, the government can use this crisis to turn everything around and say it's the virus that caused this. 60% of the U.S. adults have a chronic illness, 54% of the kids. By 2025, that's 5 years from now, the cost of autism will exceed our defense budget. By 2030, the cost of dementia will exceed that. We don't have enough money in the economy to continue with the sick care. Now, Obamacare was a great idea of getting healthy people to pay into a system that's so dysfunctional that can't even take care of the people that are in the system. Okay, so that didn't work at all. Okay, 54% of our kids have one of 20 chronic health conditions. Half, and this is 2004, half the kid population had a mental, emotional, or behavioral disorder. And top military leaders, 70% of Americans, 17 to 24. This is an all-volunteer force, by the way. 70% of our kid population, or young people population, can't even join the military.
How many percent?
70%. So Reagan's one of his best things, tear down that wall. You remember that? That was pretty cool? Okay. Well, if we ever build a wall between us and Mexico, we better say tear down that wall because we need some healthy people. Okay, we need some healthy people to man the factories because there's going to be a centralization of production. That's the only thing that makes sense. Now we know Dow plunges after fear of the coronavirus, of course, because it is a world economy. Okay, and I love this one. Forget SARS, the new coronavirus threatens a meltdown of China's economy. Now, small and medium-sized enterprise, 85% said they would be unable to survive more than 3 months under the current conditions. See, when you're taking factory workers out of factories, they stop producing material. Knowing that China exports a lot of their materials to industrialized nations like us, we're utilizing there, but we only have about 3 months of back stuff, okay, of materials. So this means car manufacturing, assembly plants, all of that in America will start to shut down. So why would China do this? Why would they sacrifice their own population? Why would if they're purposely doing this virus release? Because have you seen the thousands and thousands and thousands of empty apartment buildings? They went beyond to build the infrastructure, okay? And they don't have the jobs or the people to fill up these apartments. So they are spread thin. They were doing the same thing that America was doing. We just keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, okay? And it's not going to work. So they're running to the end, just like America is. We're going to eventually have no people working in order to pay into the system, so it doesn't work. Now, the media is not giving clear representation. Now, this one here, ourworldindata.org, brilliant. This is what the media is presenting. And the tall column on the right-hand side, terrorism, homicide, suicide. Now, they say terrorism is overrepresented by a factor of 4,000. Okay, that there's so few people on the planet that get injured by terrorism, and so many people that are injured by heart disease. Don't hear that a lot. Kidney disease, don't hear that a lot. Why? Because heart disease and kidney disease, most of the medical interventions are causing it. They're all environmental factors. So if you look at heart disease as an environmental factor, are you going to be supportive of the concentrated animal feeding operations? Are you going to be pro antibiotics in food? Are you going to be pro glyphosate sprayed on your grains? No. If we start looking into this, and we will, because we don't have anything to look at except our sick population, unless you're afraid of a virus. So people are afraid of the coronavirus. How afraid are you of cholera? Now, cholera, according to these statistics, cholera is deadly. It's about as deadly as the coronavirus so far, the statistics that we have now. Cholera is bad, right? Who in here would drink a vial of cholera? This man, he went in, and you're looking at 1892. And again, at this time, they were experimenting around to find out. They knew that water had some bacteria in it that could have been pathogenic. So he takes this vial, and he has a theory that the bacteria in there might hurt some people and might not. Does that sound kind of like the coronavirus? Some people are going to get it, some people not. So he drinks a vial of this cholera and he doesn't get sick. His partner, buddy, drinks a vial of it, doesn't get sick. They give it to another person, guy gets sick and almost dies. So what's the difference? It's like somebody with pneumonia. So he reasoned that if swallowing a pathogenic bacteria sickened you, swallowing a beneficial one would make you healthier. My God. Common sense. Holy moly. So sure enough, he actually won a Nobel Prize in 1908 for other discoveries on how the immune system works. But it turns out that it's not the cholera that causes the problem. It's the weakened immune system. Did it matter if the cholera was built in a lab? Or if the cholera was wild forming? No, get that correlate. Okay, because I want you to, if you're going to be scared of something, be scared of a weakened immune system, be scared of the panic, be scared of the shift change that's going to happen with the economy that we've known is going to happen for years. Anyone that's aware. So what do we know about the immune system? The head immunologist, rheumatologist, director of the Institute of Immunology, if a patient were to ask me how my immune system is doing, I would have no idea how to answer that, and I'm an immunologist. None of us can answer that. Right now we're doing the same test I did when I was a medical student in the 60s. They don't know how the immune system works. Mark Davis, chair, Stanford University School of Medicine. It's staggeringly complex, 15 different cell types spewing dozens of different molecules into the blood to communicate and do battle with one another. That's an awful lot of moving parts, and we don't know really what the vast majority of them do or should be doing. I got an idea. Let's just spray everybody with bleach and water or hydrogen peroxide. I'm not going to lift up your coat and spray you there. We're just going to fog the whole room. Panic everybody, not do anything, and at best, we're not going to do anything. Okay, at worst, we're going to create pathogenic bacteria like the hospitals that we have, because we still don't understand that to fight the bacteria and viruses is foolish, that we have a symbiotic relationship with these, and the more we fight what is necessary to keep us alive, the viruses and bacteria, we tend to kill ourselves. That's foolishness. So let's go to our worldandata.org. Number of deaths by cause worldwide. Now, I know this is really, really small. When this is, because what we do is we do this live on Facebook now. A week from now, I sent it to my buddy who's editing this, and he makes it all pretty, so when you get it on YouTube, you can blow it up, okay? Not, I mean, expand it so you can read it. Okay, that's what I meant by blowing it up, okay? Okay, number of deaths, cardiovascular disease, cancer, respiratory disease. You can get way down here on the list. Kidney disease kills 1.2 million. Suicide kills almost 800,000. Malaria kills about 700,000. Meningitis, alcohol use, drug use. And you're looking at these. I mean, terrorism, 26,000. What do you hear on the news? Are you hearing cardiovascular disease? No, because if you look at that, if we have a species that has this big of a problem on cardiovascular disease, you're going to look at the causative factors and you're going to look at the therapies. And you're going to find out the therapies weaken the immune system. Number of deaths by risk factor. Risk factor. High blood pressure. What is that? That is the stress response. Anybody want to go to Wuhan and check the blood pressure of every healthcare worker? Of everybody that has to put on a mask and go outside? Do you think their blood pressure is low or a little bit on the high side? Like, holy moly, yeah. Now, when you look on this, number of deaths by risk factor, They have poor sanitation, almost 800,000 people. No access to hand washing, it's 707,000 people. Just not washing your hands. Okay, that kills people. Now, this is something to look for in the future. Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness and Innovation. This is the company run by multiple billionaires that is going to clean up in this. Okay, clean up in this. If you have no ethics or morals, it might be a good investment. If you are human and you love fellow men, we should take them down. But the investors and partners, for sure it's Bill and Melinda Gates, but they have everything from discovery to manufacturing to distribution of vaccines. This is their job. This is the World Health Organization, UNICEF, responding organizations, which is everybody else. Now, Moderna, and this is one 2 weeks ago we talked about how companies are going to take advantage of this. Moderna stock rose 13%. Okay, I think this was yesterday or the day before. Moderna, and this is a vaccine manufacturing company that has a unique way to build vaccines. They have $1.4 billion in cash on hand and $250 million in grants from Bill and Melinda Gates. They just released a vaccine for this virus. And right now, can you imagine how many people are going, God, give it to me? Okay, let's just mellow out. The vaccine won't help. Okay. They have 45 people enrolled, 45 people, and it's going to last, they're going to follow it for about a year, okay, and they're going to do some shots to check immune system response. Now, is 1 year and 45 people good enough to find out every autoimmune disease, condition, any type of brain damage or cancer, anything else? Anything? No, because plus two, if you're not going to look for it, you're not going to find it. We know that in Argentina, they passed a vaccine law. Because remember, Healthy People 2020, what was that? That was the U.S. vaccination program for all the adults. That means that every adult in America was going to get force vaccinated 2020. Luckily, I don't think a lot of Americans would go over that without the coronavirus. So this was a great opportunity that just kind of happened to show up. What? You think it was by accident? Maybe by accident? Maybe, because, I mean, we got a couple of choices there, but it's pretty coincidental. Okay, so now in Argentina, you have to have be fully vaccinated, show your card that you got all your shots to get a driver's license or to fly. That's coming to America. Why? Because people will willingly give up their freedoms. And there's such a fear factor that if you didn't get your shots, Doc, I'm going to turn you in. Okay? So let's go over the actual numbers. This was February 2nd, and I want you to look at the cases, deaths, and recovers. Okay, 14,000 cases, 305 deaths, 443 recovers. Now, we're going to go through these coming up. This is today, 80,000, total confirmed cases. Now, you might be thinking, did all of those have that PCR test? Did all of them, were they laboratory confirmed, all 80,000? Did they have 80,000 kits? Or maybe some of them were fudged. Or, like some conspiracy theories say, it should be 10 times that. Fine, put 1 million there. Okay, but then you've got to increase all the others too. You're going to increase the death and increase the recovery rate. Okay, because it's still a similar recovery rate. 80,000, 2,700 people died, which is horrible, but 27,000 recovered. Okay, now, they're saying that, but this virus can infect you a second time, and the second time it's deadlier. What interventions are being done in the hospital? Are they giving you vitamin C, vitamin D3, some L-lysine, telling you to sleep better, getting you to build your fever, telling you to go home? For goodness sake, take the saltine crackers and the ginger ale. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. That's what my grandma told me. Put the Vicks Vapor Rub on. Okay, you know, all that stuff grandma would do, they're not telling you to do any of that. So if you get someone with a viral infection and you give them a prophylactic antibiotic, that predisposes them to diseases. If you give them an antipyretic like Tylenol or Advil or Motrin, that's going to weaken their immune system response and predispose them to another infection. If you give them a steroid, that's going to predispose them to another infection. So if you give them the drugs, it suppresses the symptom. Oh my gosh, you're better. Get the heck out of here. Okay? And if you can suppress your symptoms long enough, you can actually have a clear sputum. But I really doubt if they're doing sputum tests to double check to see if the virus is completely clear. Okay? Maybe they're doing it 27,000 times. Can you see that we don't need a conspiracy theory to say, look, it's out there, it's a pandemic, it's going to kill most of the world. No, this is a great way to take over the world. Brilliant. Okay? And so they even either came up with it to solve the financial and the health crisis so that we don't run them out on a rail, or they took advantage of a naturally occurring virus and they blew it up in the media. So, you know, let's take advantage of it. So let's go back to real stuff. I just showed you a guy that drank cholera, but because he had a normal gut flora, he survived. Cholera should be really, really scary compared to this one. Antoine Beauchamp, treat the patient, not the infection. International Journal of Vaccine and Vaccinations. Who had their finger on the magic of life? Antoine Beauchamp or Pasteur? Now, Beauchamp was saying, look, it's not the germ. It's not the bug. It's not the virus. I don't care if it's genetically engineered, modified, designed to kill me. It's not the virus. No one needs to be afraid of that. It's the terrain. It's the terrain. So it is with Beauchamp. Had the profound voice of his science not been silenced, much of humankind may have been spared the worst aspects of infectious or vital stresses of the 20th century. At least we would have much understood more clearly why we have them. Fortunately, Beauchamp's work has been kept alive by a small successive band of you, truth seekers. Cool. Okay, no conspiracy theories. Okay. There is no medical doctrine as potentially dangerous as partial truth implemented as the whole truth.
Right.
I should be hearing like, wow, dude, that is so right on. Any medical professional, bioscientist, healthcare practitioner, or layperson for that matter, who wishes to gain insight into the origins and nature of infectious and chronic illnesses against the backdrop of a marvelous view of life process must consider Beauchamp. So when you look at this, look at the health of our population. Is it because we have 60% of our adult population is sick in America? Is it because they have the coronavirus? You're right. It could be treated with a squeeze of lime. No. God, there's one in every crowd. Okay, no. Because they have a sick food supply and a sicker medical system. Okay? And high stress. That's what's causing it. Why do we have 54% of our kids with the lowest infectious rate in the world and the highest chronic disease rate and more than double vaccines of almost any other country? Don't look into that. Let's have this virus so it distracts you. You know, there is nothing going on here. Keep moving. I know, my Jedi mind tricks won't work on you. Okay, so thus, he clearly presented the idea that the physical life of higher biologic forms arise and is dependent upon and recycled by microscopic beings. Simple, immediate proof of dependence is the indispensable bacteria population of the human GI tract. We have a symbiotic relationship until the doctors wake up to realize that it's not fighting the bug. This doesn't work. If you can't fight the bug in a hospital that causes secondary infections because we're trying to fight all the bugs, but then we look at the human being and you have a ton of bugs in your gut, a ton of bugs on your skin, And if you wipe that out, you die. Okay? This is really important. We have a harmonious relationship. We have to change the entire system. Am I saying you got to break down the entire system and build something that, if confronted with a bacteria-resistant or antibiotic-resistant bacteria, that instead of creating higher antiseptics, higher and stronger antiseptics, that you go in there with normal flora and spread it around? Yeah. Spread a little dirt, little bacteria. So we realize that we have this harmonious relationship instead of an adversarial relationship with something that you need to keep you alive. Don't panic. Okay. You're right. Panic is good occasionally. Okay. Don't look for a new medical intervention. The current ones are ridiculous and the future ones will be worse. Okay. There's nothing that's going to save you other than your own immune system. Strengthen your immune system. Know that viruses are parasites and use host material to replicate. So if one person cannot infect the entire group here, you would have to infect like 2 or 3 people, and then it would use their DNA to infect 2 or 3 people, and then use their DNA, and it would get successively weaker, just like all viruses do. And no matter how virulent the virus, people recover. People recovered from Ebola, people recovered from the Black Plague, people recovered from everything. Okay, vitamin D3, vitamin C, magnesium, activated charcoal, deep sleep, sauna, hot soups, garlic, onion, liquids, exercise, conscious breathing. Man, if you're doing the conscious breathing, you're oxygenating. Okay, viruses tend to like the lower aspect of the lung, and the deep breathing uses that diaphragm. I mean, it just makes sense. And essential oils, that's what we use. You know, we'll use essential oils all day long. Not only does it smell good, but it's antimicrobial. So it doesn't kill everything. It just weakens some of the pathogenic bacteria. It's not going to kill everything. It just weakens it a bit. So go to Extreme Health Academy. I mean, I answered 37 questions. Does anyone know what it's like to answer one question that takes like 7 or 8 minutes, and you have to go into details on why the bowel is disturbed? Okay, imagine 37 times. So I had a fun Sunday. Okay, but get on Extreme Health Academy, type in Bergman 14, and you can listen to the 37 questions or hang out with the forums. You're going to see some really brilliant people on here. And the cruise, it's a month and a half away. And it was kind of fun, too, because we just had a couple of sisters down in Mexico, and they said, "We're going." And wow, they said it with such authority, it kind of scared me a little. Okay, do you want to hang out? Yeah, but this is fun. I mean, we're going to hit Athens, Crete, Cyprus, and Israel. And if anybody has any ideas, because we're going to Haifa, I've got to, I don't think she's going to watch this. I've got to get my bookkeeper an olive wood carving. And I have no idea what to get her. Okay, she's Christian, so probably, In
Israel, they have olive wood.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. I'm, probably Christ like this or something. Okay, so, yeah, when you read the Bible, the best part about Christ is when he's knocking over the tables. I think, yeah, buddy. Forget passive. No, I like a little bit on the aggressive side, protecting his Father's house. That's cool. This is what we need. Proper nerve supply, exercise, nutrition. No fear up here. It's not the virus. It's not the virus. It's the immune system. You strengthen your immune system, you got no worries. I'm not saying strengthen your immune system and let's party with some, cholera. Just be normal. Okay, now, any questions? Because next week, I want to stop talking about the frigging coronavirus and go over how to rehab and rebuild shoulders. Okay? Thank you very much. Did you just cough?
Yes.
Back away! Be gone, child! Isolate her.